So I came across a few posts about people asking about like good Android emulators, what blah 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 have you. So I haven't really done this before, and of course being on an Android-based phone, I think this makes it really easy, and not having set it up yet as well on here. I'm going to install the F-Droid version of it, but Google Play Store also has it, so either way you go, you should be good. So what we're going to look for is called Retro... Art. Did I not end? Oh, wait. Just a second. So what we're looking for is Retroarch. Right here. I believe so. You'll be able to install the standard one either way. So on Google Play, it will automatically show up as one. So you install Retroarch, it's going to look like that, Space Invader. Okay, so now that we have Retroarch installed, we open it. So it's going to ask us for certain permissions, and we'll just kind of give it those permissions. So when you first start it up, the interface might be kind of big, so what we can go in and do is we can actually go in, let me... User interface. Appearance, menu scale factor, and we can actually turn that down, I think, what was it? 80%? Yeah, that's good enough right now. So you do have a lot of customization options with it. So you could go and change the theme to different colors. Dark colors obviously are your best ones. We're gonna go with Grovebox for now. Okay. So since we've got that, so one thing you'll notice is you've got a couple main things. You've got your kind of play button there. I believe that's your resume button. And then your back button over here, kind of in your bottom row. It does have its own status bar. Your settings is over in this one. This is kind of your home menu thing. And then your playlist will go here once you scan stuff. So the first thing we want to do is if we go into the online updater and we go to the core downloader, this will give us like all our cores, which is the core of libretro Retroarch. So what cores are your emulators, and pretty much everyone now has most active developing open source emulators have a core for Retroarch at this point. Or they compile a core, or they use the core as their base and basically wrap their standalone emulator around that core. You've got Doom and different ones as well, DOSBox, and so on. So the one that a lot of people that I saw were interested in were Nintendo consoles, and there are a lot of options for Nintendo consoles. 3DS, DS, Game Boy, Nintendo 64, classic Nintendo, Super Nintendo, what have you. And then you've got your Pico 8 and so on, Quake, blah, blah, blah. It's all there, including the RPG Maker ones that people talk about, like Easy RPG. So Retroarch basically manages all your input, has its own on-screen input, and what all. So we will go through here. So the advantage of Retroarch is that you have multiple different cores that you can take advantage of. So those different cores have different advantages and disadvantages, obviously. So when you're talking to anybody that actually does like source-based ROM hacking, particularly for like Pokemon games. There are certain emulators that they will recommend. You're either talking Gambit or Sameboy or BGB for Game Boy Color. So BGB is obviously closed source and Windows only, but they're, depending on your Linux distro, you can install BGB from repositories and it uses Wine as a wrapper. Obviously, since we're on Android, we don't really have that option. So our two are Gambit and Sameboy. Sameboy can be very heavy depending on your phone, but it is very, very accurate. A little bit more accurate than Gambit. But Gambit I've used for ages, and so it's pretty accurate. So all you have to do is tap on it and install, and you'll see that the little # or hashtag comes up on the side. TGB Dual allows like some multiplayer stuff. So Game Boy Advance, you've got GPSP, Meteor, VBA Next, and VBA-M. Many ROM hack developers, particularly ones that use like source code or decomps, will not recommend these two because of their inaccuracies, but there are some ROM hacks that early on that in essence developed around that, but MGBA is basically your standard go-to. It has a lot of functionality that pretty much every other emulator doesn't have, that it's hacked around and tweaked with to make certain visual things work. And it is, yeah, they've put a lot of work into it. And it is one of the more accurate ones. So you've got GameCube. I don't remember accurate emulators for the classic Nintendo, but I believe Nestopia was one. You know, we'll go with FC, Emu, Ilula Ultimate, whatever. Mupen 64. I mean, that's pretty much the only one you're going to get for Nintendo 64, other than Parallel, which is Vulkan-based. Super Nintendo, BSNES, I think. SNES 9X is kind of one that I've used quite a bit. And then Virtual Boy, and so on. I think VitaQuake. Then you do have some, Genesis ones, like the Pico Drive, that should run most of your stuff pretty well. Then you've got a whole list of options. It's just crazy. PlayStation Portable. I've done PlayStation Portable before, so yeah. Tomb Raider, Wolfenstein. So yeah, you can go through there, and that's basically like installing cores. And then if you want to update cores, all you've got to do is like do that. So give me a second, and I will get some ROMs onto here, and then be right back. Okay, so we've got ROMs installed here. So one important thing too is when you're changing configurations, you can go save configuration, and then to kind of double check that you did it right, you go quit Retroarch, then it'll exit the app. You can kind of get rid of it that way to make sure out of the tasks, and then it'll save everything. So the next thing is importing content. So let me make sure that I have all the cores that I need, that I put ROMs on for. I should have SNES, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color. Make sure we're all good. And then what we do is we go into the playlist, we go import content, scan directory. So we go into wherever we have it. So I've added a ROM folder here. And so we go into this one, let's say, scans all the directories. So you have to go into each folder if you separated it by folder, because it won't scan recursively. I'm not sure if there's a setting to scan recursively, but I haven't seen one that does that, so you'll just go through. I mean, it's not that hard, really. I mean, the most inconvenient thing is when you get like this long list of them like this, where it's 540, and that can take a while. The one thing is it doesn't always detect ROM hacks, so you sometimes have to go in and open those up manually in order to play them. Okay, so that finally finished up. And then finally we've got one more directory to scan, and it's decently short. Why did I go that way? I don't know. So, once we get back to our playlist list, you'll see we have a nice number of playlists here set up for us. So if we go in to Master System, we can pick like Blade Eagle. So when you first run a game, it'll give you this list, and every time thereafter. So it gives you the quick menu. You go run, and then we'll pick Pico Drive, and then it'll associate that ROM, that specific ROM, with that emulator. So the next time you hit run, it'll always come up. Okay, not everything will work. So yeah, so you can close content, go back, reset core association, run, and then we'll go with the Master System Game Gear one and see how that runs. So we can see it runs actually, a bit better is debatable. But yeah. So let's try something else. So we do have landscape support as well. So it will rotate. I can't be bothered this. Come on. Anyway. So we can close our content. And it does, it will download box art for you when it can. It just takes time. So one thing most people might be interested in is, let's go with Game Boy Color. Pokemon Crystal, run. So it gives us two options. So it gives us MGBA and Gambit. So we'll just associate it there. And like I said before, this one is going to be one of your more accurate ones. So it does do the faded colors as well. So one thing with to keep in mind is you can change the settings. So you'll have to go in here, over here, and it'll be in here a bit. So we can actually change our gamepad overlays. So if we go into gamepad, we can go to Game Boy and Game Boy CFG. So this will change our overlay to one that matches it. And then we can override and save core overrides. And that will actually run the overlay for the core itself. So we can go resume, and now we've got a Game Boy overlay that matches everything instead. So every time we run a game in Gambit, then it'll run it with Game Boy overlay. So we can go back in here. If we go to home, we can go to quick menu, which opens up when you've got content running in the background. So let's pick a different one in completely separate category. Go with yellow version, run, Gambit, and then run. And so we've got the Game Boy overlay that came up for us. And we've, of course, got all the Game Boy Color colors for it. So if you go and explore in... So the other thing is the options. So you've got the colorization, internal palettes, color correction that you can mess around with. It's a lot of options. So let's close that content. So the other one would be Game Boy Advance. So we'll go with Fire Red here. And we're going to pick MGBA because that's our more accurate emulator, and we're going to run it. So it comes up with the standard Retroarch overlay again. So let's actually change our overlay again. Overrides. Oh wait, no, that's not what we want. We want on-screen overlay. Where was it? I just had it here. Okay, yeah, overlay preset. Got it, forgot. GBA, let's go with GBA gray. And then we'll save that as a core override once again. Then we go into our quick menu, go up to resume, and we've got that as our overlay. Retroarch does support custom overlays if you want, and you can make your own. It will take some learning and going through documentation, but there is some fine-tuning you can do in the settings. So if I go in here, and then we can go into our options for Game Boy Advance, and it will auto-detect the model that we need, BIOS, what all. And MGBA does support Super Game Boy borders, which is really cool if you're playing a Game Boy game. And I have used that on PC as well for certain ROM hacks that have custom borders. So yeah. Let me actually go back to quick menu, close content. So yeah, that's pretty much the basics of setting up Retroarch. Again, if you're running like a ROM hack, it's going to be a little more involved where you can go load content, you go to the directory, you go to wherever you downloaded your ROM hack to. I'm just going to pick one that I have in here, and then you select the core, and then it'll show up in your play history as well. So when you close content, let's see, where was that history one? Load recent, so it'll show up in the history here of everything. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Algorithm really seems to like that, and it actually helps it get directly out to more people. And you can even join the chat and interact when I'm not online or what have you in Discord, Guilded, XMPP, and check out my streaming stuff. Links are all in the description places, and I will see you guys later.